Welcome back, y'all. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and we're your hosts, Bull and Timmy G. And this is the midweek chat for Tennessee versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. And this is for everybody. Just put your thoughts, questions, concerns, all that good stuff down inside of the chat. Actually, I've got the Q&A started up. Hopefully, y'all did notice that. But, we're just going to go ahead and jump on into it. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. So, man, Tim, it's been a little minute, man, since we talked about this stuff live. But how do you feel about this matchup with Tennessee and the Buckeyes?
Super excited, man. Big time game. Look, we've been wanting to go to the playoffs for forever, and now we're getting a shot, and it's versus a really big name. So, I'm down for it.
Yeah. Is there anything off the top that just kind of like worries you or concerns you for Tennessee?
Not really concerned me, no. I mean, just they are a really good team. I mean, they've got a lot of talent. Like, they've got wide receivers.
Yeah, they do.
They got a lot of talent at wide receiver. But no, nothing that really concerns me. I mean, I'm favoring Tennessee in this one pretty good, so we'll see.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because it feels like more people are starting to favor us, which, I mean, that makes sense to me because I do think that we match up well just from like a style perspective and all that type of stuff. Especially with the climate, people are starting to kind of talk about that favoring Tennessee too. But for me, if there's anything that does kind of concern me, I would say number one, it would be with our running backs, with the pass pro, because we know that the Buckeyes like the blitz. They like to run different stunts. And not really, I mean, D. Sam's done a good job. I think that Bishop has really picked it up. But Peyton Lewis, he's the one that really does worry me. I don't know how much he's going to play in this game since Bishop is back. I think Bishop is probably back to, full strength. So he should be able to take the bulk of the second string carries. But I've talked about this a lot. I feel like we need to try to rotate in at least 3 guys just to try to keep everybody fresh and also give the defense different looks. But that does concern me some. And then I would say with our linebackers more in coverage because the Buckeyes they'll line guys up where a linebacker almost has to cover them. Like they'll try to make those types of mismatches. And obviously that is a huge mismatch with those wide receivers because they're all, they all have good size and they can all move. I think they're all also very savvy. And, that's an underrated thing for wide receivers. But is there anything that I guess maybe gives you some confidence, maybe not overconfidence, but like, what do you feel good about with this matchup?
Our D-line and D-Sam. Those 2 things right there, man. Like Ohio State's had a lot of problems with the O-line. I mean, they're talking about doing some crazy stuff like starting people that haven't started, moving people different positions. Like that's a wild thing to do before a playoff game. Go ahead.
Excuse me. Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I mean, definitely I've been hearing them. So they talked about number 77. That was their starting right guard. That was talking about trying to move him out. And when I say they, I'm talking more about the Buckeye fans. And I watched him on film. I actually think that he's one of their better blockers. Whenever he's picking up people who he's supposed to me, he's more of a body mover. And I think that that's what they need up front. But it sounds like he is actually going to start, but he might kind of rotate in with another one of the guards. So I want to say that the one guy's name, was it Jake Thompson? He's number 51. Sounds like he might be playing a lot at left guard for number 67. And 67, to me, that's the weakest link of their offensive line. So we might get a much better look. I think that their center is good. I think that they're pretty solid up front, but they're just not really body movers. And no one really, outside of pretty much Tennessee fans and probably the people that are actually watching film for the Buckeyes, understand that it's not just about Tennessee's edge rushers. The interior of our defensive line, I think maybe it might be stronger than our edge rushers. We've got 3 or 4 real legitimate defensive tackles that do a great job clogging up holes, you know what I'm saying? But also they can rush the passer. Omar Norman-Lott, I saw somewhere, he's projected to be a first-round draft pick, but that's how he's playing. Like his pressure rate is like 21 or 22%. Is right behind James Pearson. James Pearson's pressure rate is at like 26%. So my whole point right there, Tim, to your point, I do think that we have a good matchup with our front, and that's what you want in these playoff games. Let me get to some of these chats and see who all's in the house. Tim, I saw that you rang in early.
Yes, sir.
Y'all. Right here from Lamons Jr. saying, "Go Big Orange." What's up, y'all? Happy to have y'all in here joining us. And from Big Dogs Gotta Eat, love that name, says the biggest concern is getting torched with Ohio State's wide receiver talent. Go Big Orange. Yeah, I think that's probably most people's concern. But our cornerbacks, both of them, are really good. And our safeties really ain't no slouches. Papa T I saw him comment on a video earlier today, and he was saying, well, the national media is saying some good things about the Buckeyes secondary. And, I had to point out the fact that I wasn't talking about the whole secondary, but their cornerbacks might be the worst we've seen all season. And I'm not just saying that. They are absolutely terrible. And both of those guys are older players. So I don't know how that happens, but from pass interference and still getting beat to pass interference not being called and still getting beat, I haven't seen them do very many good things. But the safeties do look good. So I think that people talk about that secondary versus Tennessee's, but I think from top to bottom, Tennessee's is actually probably better in a game like this than the Buckeyes are, because their cornerbacks are terrible. Their safeties are definitely really high level, but our cornerbacks are really high level. And then our safeties, I would say, are pretty good. There would be average to above average SEC safeties. So I think that we will be fine with that matchup. But let me get to some more of these real quick. Let's see what we got right here from the Wise Man. What's going on, brother? Saying I'm more concerned with the tight ends matchup to our linebackers. So, Tim, what do you think about that matchup? Have you had a chance to kind of look at their tight end game and things like that?
I think it should be an interesting matchup. Hopefully, we're up for the test. They've got talent everywhere, and the linebacker coverage has not exactly been our strong suit through a portion of the season, but linebacker play has improved every game, I think. So should be interesting.
Yeah, I think linebackers in coverage, that is a place to be concerned at. But I don't think that it's horrible, because obviously Arion Carter, he's looked really good dropping back into coverage. I think that Jeremiah Thielander, he's looked good. Like Pete talked about this last Saturday, that he'll trip and fall sometimes, but he understands what to do. He knows the correct depth to get to. And because we might be a little bit weaker in coverage with our linebackers, maybe some mismatches with our safeties that we don't like, we will have to play some more zone coverage. So we'll see what happens, just as far as, how are things going to change from the first to the second half, right? Because if Ohio State sees, okay, whenever we give them this look, they're going to this coverage. So we know that this is open, whether it's a run or whether that's a pass. I think that that's going to be like the chess match portion of it. That's going to be interesting. But for me, Tim, I feel very, very confident with our staff versus theirs. I think from top to bottom, we have the much better staff. If there's a staff in this game that I would trust less, it's definitely theirs. I could see them blowing this game just like they did versus Michigan, like they've done in several instances, because there's no reason that you have a top 2 roster every single season. You should have they should have, I would say, at least 3 championship trophies up under Ryan Day. That's just what it is. But they mismanage talent. Heupel's been doing a lot more with less. And this season, our roster is not like the Buckeyes, but I think that it's close enough that the X's and O's in the chess match should favor Tennessee. But what do you think about that, Tim?
I agree. I agree. Try to keep it simple. I agree on that.
Okay. All right, so let's get to some more of these. All right, right here. This is the next one from Let's Go Guy. What's going on? Saying, why does Tennessee get a new kicker every year and try to keep one of them? I think that's kind of like a luxury for us to have. So we have one kicker that kicks the football off. Another one is actual like field goal kicker. So maybe it's just like a different skill set. I don't know. But I'm happy to have that. That's a good thing to have, because if something happens to one, at least you got somebody else that you can kind of lean on. Most teams, Tim, they don't have 2 real kickers. You know what I'm saying? They don't have 2 guys. Usually have a punter that maybe can kick the football off, but is not that good at field goals. We have 2 guys. So, I feel good about that. Excuse me, y'all. Let me get to this next one from Brian Lemons. Any update on Squirrel? Concerned if we get nicked up, how we rotate our wide receivers. Yeah, so, Tim, have you heard anything, updates with Squirrel White?
I thought he was supposed to be healthy and ready to go. I mean, I haven't heard anything that he won't be playing. So,
yeah,
I plan on seeing him in the game.
Yeah, that's the same thing that I've been hearing. I think that he's fine. I mean, he's had about 3, or he will have had about 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So he should be good. I think Brew's going to be good. I think everyone's going to be healthy. You know what I'm saying? Just like as long as we stay that way. And I think today was probably like the real physical, or was the last real physical practice of the week. Everything else should be more like walkthrough type stuff. So I feel like we're going to be pretty much 100% with the guys that are still on this roster heading into this game. So that is another interesting point, because if we are too banged up at slot, what do we do? Do you think maybe we can move Brew inside, Or I mean, like, who else do you think can maybe play right there?
I mean, if Bray's ready, I'd like to see Bray get a chance, right?
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, that's the thing. I mean, you recruit these high caliber guys. Now's the time when step up, next man mentality kind of thing. As long as he's good with his run blocking and everything, man, bring him in and try him. I mean, you could move Brew pretty much anywhere you want. He's gonna do Brew things. So I don't know. We probably got some options there. So
yeah.
that doesn't really concern me for this game.
Yeah, I'm not overly concerned about it either. I actually think that getting Mike Matthews some more reps and just some more opportunities to get out on the field, I think that that's big because he's one that sounds like maybe he wasn't picking the offense up as well early on, but now that he's got it, he made a touchdown versus Vandy. He's playing with I think he's always played with a high level of confidence, but it's different whenever you actually see yourself doing it. When it counts. So I think that having him play more, that's something that could really help this passing game get going, because he is a difference maker at wide receiver. So if he gets to play some more slot, I think that that's great. Obviously, Squirrel being healthy would be good. Braylon Staley, he's another one. I mean, like you said, Tim, we got some guys. We got more than people realize. Where's the next one at? All right, so right here from my dog, D. Taylor. What's going on, D? Who is a member of the channel? Thank you for being a member. Saying, who will OSU target in our secondary, Gibson, Brooks, or Boo? What do you think about that one, Tim?
Probably Boo. If I had to guess, that's what Georgia did, right? Didn't they kind of tried to pick on Brew a little bit, or Boo a little bit?
Yeah, they got him one time. Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure Ohio State's watched that film, and he's a true freshman. Like that right there is any time a coach is scrolling over and sees that, they're probably going to see if they can't pick at him. But look, Boo is ultra talented. So good luck with that. He might pick one off and take it back. You just don't know.
Hey, you know what? I have so much confidence with them really trying any of our secondary players, because I would say that probably Will Brooks and then Boo, like you said, maybe even Christian Harrison. It's funny because whenever he's in, teams don't tend to throw at him too much. I mean, it's very rare. Seems like he always comes in whenever it's going to be like a wide receiver quick screen, which he blows that type of stuff up. I think that he does look good in coverage, but really out of those three that we just named, and I'm not talking about Ricky Gibson, I think that Christian Harrison would probably be the one that you would want to try to go at down the field a little bit more. But yeah, I think the Bulls, he's going to be up to this game. You know what I'm saying? Like he's going to get up. Will Brooks, same thing. And we'll probably see Brooks playing more off coverage. That's really where him and Boo both kind of got messed up at. They were playing like in that slot and they were up at the line of scrimmage. And it's tough. It's tough to cover those fades, those wheel routes from that spot, because, you can go inside or outside from the offensive side of the ball. But, I trust what Tim Banks is going to do in this game. Excuse me. Now, one of my other concerns would be, is he going to come out here and basically lay an egg like he did versus UGA? Because I didn't like what they were doing. I didn't like that game plan. It looked good. It looked good in the first half, but at halftime, Georgia switched something up. So will he adjust if Chip Kelly kind of gets something going? And then, Tim, what do you think about the Buckeyes running tempo? Because I've been hearing that all week long, that they probably will run some type of tempo.
Okay, fine. It's like
right.
I mean, how they don't run it all the time. So how good is their tempo going to be? Like some of these things, if you're not doing it on the regular, why are you doing it now? That to me, that does not sound like a good idea. That sounds like, I'm not going to say desperation, but it sounds a little gimmicky, man. If you're not used to doing that, like don't break it out in a playoff game, right? Just do what you do. Do what got you here.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree 1,000,000%. And I will know a lot about how this game is going to go by the opening script for really both teams, right? And on both sides. Because if the Buckeyes come out and if they're just throwing the ball real quick, if they're trying to run tempo, like you said, if they're not doing what really got them here, then we already know that we are inside of their head, and it's going to be a long day for them, because Tennessee's going to do what we've always done. We're going to run the football a lot right at you. We're going to play action, throw it deep. We're going to run those quick wide screens and all the same stuff that you've seen. Now, will there be some new wrinkles? I'm sure that there will be, but we're going to be who we are. We're not going to get away from what we've always done. We're just going to execute it better. So I'm curious to see how that whole thing plays out. All right, well, where's the next one at, Tim? Who did I just leave off on?
Christopher Welch, right there below D.
Okay. Got him. Chris, what's going on, brother? Saying go Vols from Franklin, North Carolina. Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us. Richie
Ohio
Dub.
State fan
Okay.
here. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, this is Buddy, I think, from last time that we did a stream. He was in here cutting up. What's going on, Richie? You already know that y'all about to get handed that A-whooping in about 3 days from now, man. So you better go ahead and start getting ready. Hey, you know what, Richie? I also want to know this. Who would you like for y'all's next head coach to be? Because it seems like that might be a very realistic possibility. I've seen some things about maybe Venables. You know what I'm saying? What he was coaching with the Titans?
Huh? Yeah, I think it'll probably be Venables, but it wouldn't surprise. I mean, they're going to reach out to oh God,
Urban Meyer.
Yeah, he's probably going to get a phone call. So
that's who I would go to.
Yeah,
because he can coach. That is a tough dude. Now he comes with a whole lot of baggage, but I think that the Buckeye fans just want to be able to beat Michigan, and that's probably number one. And they want to get back to winning national titles, which, I mean, that's really like they should be in that mix every single season. But Urban Meyer, I think he'd turn that around with this roster. He'd turn that around next season. Let's get to Lamons Jr. Sorry to keep you waiting, my dog. Would be nice to see Brew have a big game. Yeah, I think Brew, and when it's cold outside, you want to go to the dogs. You want to go to the tougher players. I think Tennessee's roster is just loaded with them. But Brew is really that dude, especially in this moment. You know that you can trust him. So, yeah, I want to see him get some touches early for sure. I also want to see us use him to block guys like Caleb Downs. That would be a great matchup. If we can find a way to block Caleb Downs, who is a phenomenal safety, I think he's their best player on defense. Might be, he's one of the best players on their whole team. If we can find a way to block him on a consistent basis within our running game, we are going to gash them down the field. So, Brew is the guy who can do a lot of great things for us. That's an excellent point. Let's get to the wise man. We have way better corners. The drop off in the Big Ten just pads their stats. Yeah, I mean, shoot, don't get me started on that. That's another thing that I think that's hilarious. Tim, have you been watching any of these Buckeye podcasts?
No,
You haven't watched that?
No,
man,
I try to avoid that. Pretty wild.
Yeah, man. Huh? Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that, man. They are they always talk about Tennessee's schedule. They're like, yeah, well, they only played 2 teams, Alabama and Georgia, and everyone else sucked. I'm like, you got some nerve and audacity to say that, because look at who y'all played. A bunch of
Yeah, the whole conference outside of the top 2's not good.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I would give them the top 3.5, because I think Indiana is a decent team. But we saw that Indiana struggled with Michigan, and whenever Texas played Michigan, they killed them, right? I mean, like, they absolutely blew them out. And I actually think that Texas isn't, I think Texas is a good team, but, they might be a little bit overrated by SEC standards. But anyway, I'm not going to get too far into that. But yeah, I agree with that 1,000,000%. Their pads are definitely stated, or their stats are definitely padded. And we will pull this up right here. These are just the offensive numbers for Tennessee versus the defense for Ohio State. So y'all can see that it looks really good on paper. And, I think that this is what the wise man was talking about. So let's get to Richie Dub saying, by the way, both of Ohio State's corners are no later than second-round picks. So calling them horrible and trash is a stretch. Well, that's very interesting to say that, because has the draft already happened? Now, they might be projected to be those types of picks, and they are very talented. But whenever you turn on the film, what you see consistently, and you should know this as a fan, you watch them play. All right, so you've probably watched, well, I don't know if you've watched more than I have, because I've watched all the games several times. What I've seen from the cornerbacks is that they are overly handsy. They get beat off the line of scrimmage, inside and outside, both of them. And even with holding on to people, they're getting beat deep. They're getting beat underneath with different body types, big guys, small guys. They're getting mossed. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of your cornerbacks has the most pass interference penalties in the entire country. He's the most penalized player from both of these 2 teams. The other one is allowing passes to be completed on him at 79%. That don't sound like top 2-round cornerback to me, dog. I mean, I don't know. We will see what happens. I just hope that my Falcons don't try to go draft him, because that would be a major problem. All right, let's get on. Where are we at now, Tim? I kind of lost my spot. This thing keeps on moving on me.
Brian Lemons, right there below Richie Dubs.
Brian Lemons. Okay, there we go. All right, so Brian Lemons, what's going on? Saying Nico needs to use his eyes to fool the safeties. They're going to be ready to jump routes. That's an excellent point, because they're safeties. Now, look, Dubs, y'all safeties, they are a problem. That does concern me. You got some very good safeties, and I think that they've helped your cornerbacks out tremendously. But the problem is you're not going to be able to play too high versus Tennessee the whole game, because if you do that, we're going to run the ball right down your throat. You're going to have to come down to the box some and give us the one-on-ones on the outside with those cornerbacks, and we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them, I'd say, at least 80% of the time. And, numbers back that up. 79%. I think that we're going to be a little bit higher than that. But, Tim, what do you think about the have you seen much of their corners?
Not a lot, no. Just a couple games in some highlights. Nothing major.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to judge Big Ten, man, because I don't exactly know most time when I see him playing somebody, not one of the top 3 teams, the competition level, there's such a huge difference in talent that it's really hard to judge.
It's crazy. Yeah. And, I always look at it like this, like you can kind of see what the talent level is, or, you'll understand that, hey, Iowa doesn't have good wide receivers. So they shouldn't be having to hold Iowa's wide receivers down the field and still getting beat deep. See what I'm saying? I think that's a good point of reference. All right. Let me get right here to Richie Dub saying 3 ? I don't know what 3 you're talking about there.
No, sure
okay, so he's saying 3 titles in 6 years. Do y'all have 3 titles? Do y'all have 3 national titles in 6 years? Where was I at for that?
No time in recent history that I can remember. 5 years.
Yeah, if y'all had 3 titles in these past 6 years, those are different titles. It's saying 5 years actually. This is day 6 season. Yeah. Maybe he's saying to my point that they should have multiple titles. Yeah, you should. Like, you don't play anybody and your roster is talented. If you've got a top 2 roster, why would you be losing other than coaching? Doesn't that say something about the coaching? And isn't that why most of y'all's fans are upset right now? I think that maybe that's a little bit maybe that's part of the reason. Y'all have underachieved dramatically, sir. Dramatically. All right, let me get to Brian Lemons right here. Agree with the coaches. Our coach can scheme up new wrinkles every week out of the run and pass game with many wide open guys. Nico needs to hit the open guys. Yeah, that's something that he's gotten a lot better with. Tim, do you remember, just in any way, shape, form, or fashion, I think that it was Brent Hubbs. He laid out some stats for Nico since the second half of the Alabama game. And it was something just like astronomical. I think he was completely. Yeah, go ahead.
It's been pretty impressive. Like obviously, if you look back, that looks like that's where the switch came on, right? That's where he saw the light. And he's gotten better every game. Honestly, I thought one of his best games was the Georgia game. I thought he played a good game in the Georgia game. There were some other things in that game that were out of his control, but as far as his play and what he did in that game, look, he's just gotten better and better. I'm really excited to see what he looks like by the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. Shoot, if you go back to that game, it was a few third downs. I think even maybe a 4th down where Nico was making things happen inside of the pocket, extending plays and hitting wide receivers right in the chest, right in the hands, and they was dropping it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe one of the questions should be, will the wide receivers be up to this moment? Or are they going to, play how they played versus Georgia, which I don't think that they will. Dante Thornton, he's looked good. Of course, he did have a drop. I think that he did have one of those drops in the Georgia game, but he's been pretty consistent throughout the entire year. I'm not going to expect these guys to make every single catch. You're going to drop some passes. These are human beings. I think that Brazel has really stepped up. We talked about Mike Matthews. He's another one. I think that he's come on strong. And obviously, Brew is a dog all the time. So, yeah, I think that Nico will start to, or he's shown that he is hitting those passes better. But if we just throw more of them, we're going to hit more of them. That would be my idea. Try to get those stats up by increasing that volume. Take more deep shots. This is a game that Tennessee should try to find the isolation with those cornerbacks on the outside. And I'd say, man, throw at least 8 bombs. Just throw it up. And if you hit on 2 of them, you're probably going to win. So that's where I'm at with it. But yeah, I think that Nico has been playing pretty well. Now, from Jeremy Thornton, what's going on, Jeremy? Saying apparently his right shoulder is what was bothering him all year, but for whatever reason, he was wearing a brace on his left shoulder. I guess an injury he got against Vanderbilt. Are you talking about
He's not a squirrel?
Squirrel, right? Yeah, so I think he has some sort of an AC joint. It did actually, now that you said it might have been his other shoulder that was bothering him. Squirrel's problem is he's got to stop diving for every single catch. And that's part of the reason that his shoulders keep on getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, just stay on your feet. And if you do that, you'll be fine. Like, you'll last throughout these games. He might also need to add a little bit of weight. He's listed at 167, Tim. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's got to be a little bit bigger than that, right? I mean, that's pretty frail.
That's tiny. 168. That's tiny.
Yeah.
That's frightening, man. Stay out of a D lineman's way. Is all I gotta say on that. Because good Lord, 168.
Yeah, for real.
That's crazy.
But you know what though? There's been some like the wide receiver Jackson that played for the Eagles for all those years, and I think he came from Cal. He was about the same size as Squirrel, like 5'10", about like $170 playing in the NFL, but he could take that top off. Speed kills at that position. So, I think, obviously Squirrel's a dog. Squirrel's going to be fine. I think Squirrel's going to play. I think he's going to play well. He's going to make the catches. I just want for him to stay on his feet, man. Stay healthy, because we want you to be able to play throughout the entire playoffs, because we won't be done on Saturday. Let's get to Larry Martin saying, looks like their QB throws into coverage a bunch. If we can get a couple turnovers, we'll be good. Yeah, that's something, Tim, I'm sure you probably noticed this too. I think that Will Howard, I'm not as down on him as some other people are. I think that he's a very solid quarterback. I think that he can do some good things. He's got good speed. He does a good job inside of the pocket. And I think that typically he's on time. The problem is, though, to your point, is that he will throw the ball into coverage just because he trusts his wide receivers so much. And that could definitely backfire versus these Tennessee Vols, because we do go get picks. I want to see Ricky Gibson get him one, because they coming at him, Tim. You already know. They've been talking about that all week. I think that they're about to try to go to Ricky Gibson.
All right. Try that. I think he's a really good corner. So, let's see how that works out for you.
Yeah, 100%. Now let's get to the next one from Let's Go Guy. Says, what happened with the 2022 kicker who made a field goal to get a win over Alabama? I never see him on the field a lot.
That was his last and final year.
Yeah. So he is done. And I don't know that he gets. I think he did get signed with an NFL team. I don't know if he's still playing ball or not. But yeah, he just ran out of time, man. And it's crazy because it sounds like Pavia. I thought that I saw something where Pavia is going to get that final year next season, which is crazy.
That's insane. Like, what? If so, that's just wild.
Yeah, man. I would like to see what happens with guys like Andre Carrick. Can he get that medical red shirt? And how much is that going to impact guys like what is the guy's name from Northwestern? Josh Thompson. So he was up. I think that he might have just left campus today, but he's a guy that the Buckeyes are also going after. He's got a lot of folks who want him. I think he's heading to LSU. We'll talk about him some more in just a second. Let me get this one right here from my dog Lofton SR94 says linebacker is going to play the biggest role. Running back passes in run stopping, also screen passes on the cornerbacks. Yeah, I think that the linebackers have to play. I think they have to play very well, very, very, very well. Because to your point, Ohio State loves to get the football to their running backs coming out of the backfield, and they'll run, wheel routes, rail routes, which are some deeper routes down the field coming out of the backfield. So that could be a place where they could definitely maybe exploit a weakness in Tennessee's defense. But I think that Arion Carter is perfectly fine with that. Okay, so if they just come out with one running back, then we'll be fine just as far as, hey, AC, you got the guy that comes out of the backfield. And then, whoever else is in there, y'all take care of the run support and things like that. But that is a place I feel like we're going to be missing Jalen Smith at, because, man, he did a really good job of picking up backs coming out of the backfield. He didn't look good doing it at first, but by the time he got done here, he looked real good doing it. So somebody else has got to step up. And Tim, man, I keep on kind of like glossing over Edwin Spillman, because I keep on forgetting that he's back, but he also looks really good. I think that he can do some of those same things. Will he be ready for this moment? I think that he will be. I
definitely am eager to see him play. It's just wild that we had to wait all year to really see it happen. But yeah,
I know, man. He's having to play in some of the most critical situations. But I'm happy that he got to play last week, kind of get himself together, get back adjusted to the actual game speed, because it is a difference from practicing and then real live game reps. It is a difference, but I see him just getting better, because even after all the time that he took off, Tim, he came back and he looked really good. And I'm thinking like, damn, like how long has he been, like, what has he been doing? Because clearly he's been doing something like for moving around and all that. Probably couldn't do like the physical stuff. I think he had like a hand deal. Probably couldn't do more of the physical stuff, but he looks like he's still been kind of practicing. You know what I'm saying? So that I think that's going to help us out tremendously. If all the linebackers play well, but Edwin Spillman, he's going to play a lot in this game. We definitely need for him to step up for sure. All right, let's see. The next one is from Christopher Welch saying that was his last year. Okay, so yep. He transfers from USC to California, or USC in California. And the wise man saying, we are big on our wide receivers blocking. That could be what holds those young guys back, like Matthews, from getting more snaps. That's the one area Nimrod will be missed. Yeah, I think that Nimrod did a good job with that, but also, man, Mike Matthews does a good job. Tim, we was talking about this. It was, I think it was on Dante's touchdown last week, or in the last game versus Vandy, where he just laid somebody out. Matthews did.
Yeah. He was actually more wide open, but Nico didn't see him, so he hit Dante. He hit him, Dante going across the middle, and then he turned around and laid a block on the guy just because. I love that. Yeah. Look, Mike's and he's such a nice kid, man. I've watched like some interviews he's done and stuff, and he's such a smart guy. But you can tell he's got that mean streak in him. That's what you want. You want a smart guy who, when he gets on that field, he's a different person, right?
100%.
Wake up and choose violence.
There it is.
Yes,
sir. Absolutely love it. All right, so let's get to this next one right here from Brody Bailey saying, invade the shoe. So, Tim, we got to talk about this too, because it sounds like we are going to do that. I know that you've been hearing some of the stuff behind the scenes. What they say, I think it was with SeatGeek, 42% of the after sale, or whatever the aftermarket sale, whatever whatever that's called.
Well, the crazy thing, man, is there's still tickets out there to buy. Like, that is crazy. If this was Neyland, how long do you think those tickets would have lasted? It'd been over an hour. It would have been like there's no you wouldn't see it. And if you were, then you'd be paying $2,000 for something ridiculous through one of the other sellers or something. But that looks like it might. Now, how much of an invasion is it going to be? Is it going to be 35,000? Is it going to be 25,000? How many go? What surprised the hell out of me, man, is why is shit so cheap in Columbus? Did you see the ticket prices versus UT prices? It's ridiculous, bro.
I think because it's going to be so cold. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what it is. Maybe they're having trouble getting them sold because people are like, dang, I don't want to be out there. It's going to be, 10, 12,
15
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be super cold out there. So I think that's a big part of the problem. And this is something that we don't have to really worry about this season. But next year, I'm willing to bet you that they try to organize things a little bit different so that the teams in the South are hosting more, because they're having trouble, making money off of this stuff, right? Because like you said, there's no reason that there's still tickets out there to be bought. But it's just because nobody wants to be outside when it's freezing cold for 4 or 5 hours. That's insane. Well, except for Tennessee fans, we're gonna be up in that thing.
Columbus is gonna like it because they're gonna get Tennessee fans for about 3 days up there boozing and pounding it up. Some of this shit that they pulled, man, is absolutely freaking next level. Did you see the stuff with the what's it called? The tunes. Touch tunes. Mm-hmm. Apparently somebody they were like, you can play stuff remotely, so across all the bars and all the Waffle Houses in Columbus were playing Rocky Top nonstop. Like, that's next level, bro. Who did that? I want to shake his hand. That's wild.
Man,
that's great, man. I mean, there's so much other stuff. They like, did you see the Apple Maps thing?
Nah. What they got with that?
Google their stadium on Apple Maps. It's all called Neyland North.
Oh my God! Yeah,
they did it on Apple Maps. They did it on Wiki. Like, this shit is out of control, man. It is. Look, they are getting a a major dose of Vol Twitter and all things Vol in this game that I don't know that they were ever like, wait, they did this? Yeah, they will do that. That's what they do. But that's just wild.
Man, I don't know how they're dealing with it because obviously they still trying to get over that loss to Michigan. And now you got Tennessee coming up for a playoff game. Like you said, they seen what this fan base is really like. You're going to have to deal with it in person if you're going to be, on campus coming up on Saturday. I don't know where they at mentally. Like the fan base, I'm sure, is not in the best place.
I don't think the fan base is in it. Otherwise, why would tickets be available? Like
that's
the fan base is
that's another really
a lot of them have already checked out, and maybe they want us to come in there and beat the hell out of them. That way they can get rid of Ryan Day. I think it's at that point, which is kind of crazy. But if you can't beat Michigan, that's a whole that's not good. Not if you're an Ohio State fan.
Yeah. No, that's another very excellent point, because I do think that is a big part of the reason too, is that their fans just are not very into it. So yeah, man, we probably could get up to like 30,000+. I definitely think that that's coming. All right, let's get this one right here from Richie Dubs. Saying y'all will have 8,000 in the shoe, about 6.5 to 7%.
You're underestimating greatly, my friend. You have no idea. I wonder if he lives in Ohio, or if he's like you obviously don't live in Tennessee, and because otherwise you would know better than that. If those tickets are available, there will be double that number, if not quadruple that number. Like that 6.5. That's not even
6,500. I think that they pretty much gave us like 3,500. So you're talking about like double that. We're gonna have way more than that. I'm gonna say, Tim, I'm gonna say that my floor is I'm gonna say 17,000. That's my floor. I think we have at least 17,000.
No,
and that's if everything it just goes completely and totally wrong. I don't see us having any less than that.
No, I agree. I mean, hell, he said what, 6.5 or 7K? Dude, that's a freaking high school game in Tennessee. Like, what are you talking about, bro? That's a high school game. Get the hell out of here. I went to AA school, and we packed more than 5,000 in that place every weekend, and it was tiny.
Yeah, we're going to travel well. We about to take over the shoe. Y'all already know that. Deborah P, what's going on, Deborah? It's good to hear from you. Saying Michigan beat Ohio State. How do the Vols compare to Michigan? There you go. So what I've always said, Tim, is that Tennessee, number one, Tennessee actually has an offense. We can throw the ball down the field. I think Michigan won that game throwing for like 62 yards. Tennessee can run the football better than Michigan. Tennessee has a better defense than Michigan, and that does include the defensive line. Now, I know that they've got two really good defensive tackles that could potentially be first-round draft picks. That's all well and good. I know that Tennessee has at least one guy that is projected also at defensive tackle to be a first-round draft pick. We've got, obviously, James Pierce playing at end, who is also projected to be first round. But I think that Joshua Josephs is a top 2-round guy. I think that Bryson Easton is a top 2-round guy playing at tackle. I think that Big O, we're deep. We have a lot of players that come in waves. So, Deborah, just to kind of like answer that question, we are Michigan with an offense on steroids. That's who's about to be coming up to the shoe.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's and then Deborah, thank you for the question. Let's get to the wise man. Looking forward to seeing more of Spillman. Dude is a dog, 1,000%.
Yes, he is.
And he's a Tennessee kid too. Michael Cooley saying Buckeyes too slow. Yeah, man. I definitely feel you on that, but they got some speed though. I ain't gonna hold you. They got a lot of speed. Richie Dub saying y'all don't have Michigan pedigree and y'all can't understand what type of game Ohio State Michigan is. Y'all don't have a rivalry like that, buddy. Stop it.
Yeah.
Listen. Look, man, we have Alabama, third Saturday in October. That's a huge rivalry game. We hate those guys. We hate Florida. We hate Georgia. See, the difference that you don't understand coming from the Big Ten is that we understand in the SEC, we all hate each other. Every game feels like a rivalry game. So basically what you're talking about with y'all's, little rivalry game, which, y'all making it to a huge deal. That's because everyone else in your conference sucks. So typically it was y'all two that were, you won the Big Ten. and then you pretty much went on to a national title. That's pretty much how things work. But it's not like that now, okay? In the Southeastern Conference, there are too many teams for us to worry about to be stuck on one loss for the whole season because we got more games to play for. All right? It's different, man. It just means more. Please don't use the Michigan game as a barometer. Well, which game should I use then? Because I've watched them all. I've seen this about all of them. Y'all look pretty much the same in all of them. Should I talk about those Cornhuskers? Because they almost beat you too, inside of the shoe. Let's see about Jeremy Thornton saying you fixing to find out the pedigree and the physicality, Richie. Yeah, they're gonna find out. I'm to the point now, y'all. Really, why I'm just ready to get to the game. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even too much worried about all this stuff. I know we got to kind of break it down and lead you all the way up to it, but I'm so ready for it. I'm so confident about this game. I'm not overly confident, but I have confidence in this staff and in this team. We about to show them something. Jeremy Thornton is also saying y'all got beat by Michigan, a team who was without their best DB and a quarterback who had no business being on the field. Good luck Saturday. Talk to him, bro. Mucho booming. What's going on, Mucho? Saying Danny White is the GOAT. Baseball champs, football playoffs, basketball #1, Lady Vols. Back with it, Sean. Yeah, I love to see that. Love to hear UT is lit. Yeah, man. Our basketball team is really freaking good, dude. Like, our basketball team is very good, Tim. I don't know how much you've watched of them, but man,
they've got insane potential this year. Insane potential.
Yeah. So. I'm ready for us to, get back some more depth and just kind of get a little bit more healthy. One of my biggest questions, and not to go too far off on this, but I just want to say this real quick. I need to, I was happy to see that Gainey could step up some if we need to spell what's his name? Dang,
Z.
Oh yeah. So if we need to spell, at least we got somebody who we can trust to come out, and play some point, to run some point. So I think that we're going to be. This is definitely a team that's going to make a deep tournament run. I'll say it like that. From Michael Cooley saying Buckeyes should have put Wolvies in the rearview mirror 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Mike, I don't know why. I mean, I get why, but man, at some point you got to move on. But Tim, I think that you nailed it too. I think that some of the fans just want to lose. They like, man, like, F it. This season's over.
I think they're just checked out. But
yeah,
maybe I'm wrong. But I mean, what else could explain the tickets not selling? Because that's just insane. I don't give a shit if it was 0 degrees and snowing. They would sell Neyland out for a playoff game, and it would be freaking wild.
Yeah. Wild. I definitely kind of feel like they've checked out, and I think that would be a good thing for Tennessee to get off to a good start, to really take their crowd out of it, because then at that point, as a player, as a coach, and all that, I mean, I think that you lose a whole lot of confidence whenever your fans just give up on you. So I think that a lot of things are going in Tennessee's favor. Excuse me, y'all. From Mucho Boomin saying 100 about their schedule. Yep. And let's come on down to Andrew Fielding saying Kentucky beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat Georgia. Vandy beat Bama, and we had to play them all minus Ole Miss. Yeah, it's laughable to even try to compare schedules, because if you actually watch these games, and Tim, like we've broken it down before on this channel, just showing all the blue chip caliber players that have gone to different schools, the SEC side by side with the Big Ten, and from top to bottom, it is no question. In the SEC, everybody's got a lot of blue chip players. You know what I'm saying? All the way down to Vandy had the least. Vandy had 12, but it was like 8 or 9 teams in the Big Ten that didn't have as many blue chip caliber players as Vanderbilt has. You know what I'm saying? So it's a totally different thing. And then, because we don't have to just run the football all the time, we can do different stuff on offense. So like our offenses look better. You really can't even try to, look, Penn State has looked good versus who they played. But I would bet money on Tennessee beating them by like 17 points easily anywhere. I don't care if it's at Penn State or where it's at, because their stuff is so up and down. You don't have a lot of different things to get ready for in these games. But see, if you watch it and if you know what you're looking at, that's very, very obvious. It's rare that you hear any real analyst not just say, hey, look, well, we know that the SEC is the deeper conference. And that's for a reason, because it actually is. So, these teams that might not have this pedigree from, 100 years ago and all this other stuff that doesn't even matter right now, I don't know why that's even relevant. that doesn't have this pedigree, but they're good now, right? They might not have big names, but they're still good teams. I feel like some of the Big Ten people just overlook it. Or maybe they're just lying to themselves because they know what's coming, because they know what's about to happen.
Iron sharpens
Yeah.
iron, man, and that's why the
Mhm.
SEC is so good. Like
Yep.
it's the SEC's only gotten better, like all the way across the board since the transfer portal. Like we've seen parity and massively in the SEC. Like the SEC, any team in the SEC could beat you. It used to be Vanderbilt was a cakewalk. They creep in and get somebody every now and then. Look, I mean, this year's all been about Pavia, but still, man, like the SEC is anybody can beat anybody, and there's talent everywhere. And if you don't come ready, if you have an off day, Kentucky
You're
versus
gonna have a
Ole
long
Miss,
day.
Kentucky versus Ole Miss, right?
Yeah.
Like that's one of the worst
Crazy.
teams in all the SEC, and they beat them. So yeah,
Yeah.
you better be ready. You better not overlook anybody because there are no easy teams.
Yeah, and I mean every stadium that you go to, maybe outside of Vandy, you know what I'm saying? And Vandy can kind of get loud sometimes, but every other stadium in the SEC, it's hostile. You know what I'm saying? So it's not. Now I've heard people say that too. Well, Nico's never been inside of a hostile stadium, buddy. We just went to Athens. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, we're in hostile. Every stadium that we go to is hostile.
And those people are all criminally insane. Okay, they bark at people. They bark at people. Like that's not
Yeah.
normal, man. It's not in like that's such a wild culture, man. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let me get to right here from Lamont Jr. saying, I've been tuning into those Ohio State podcasts. They're so clueless to how physical the SEC is. They downplay the SEC a whole lot. Yeah. And I tried to kind of draw that correlation for y'all today. Just kind of like showing how Rams hit. But next time that y'all watch a game, which it could be today, it's some games on now. Watch whenever the offensive linemen are going to the edges, or someone's pulling, tight end, anybody, they're going to the edge, or they're getting up to the second level. Whenever a linebacker and an offensive player meet for a blocking situation, I want for you to notice, do they slow down and catch or turn to the side, or are they kind of boom? You know what I'm saying? That's how you know. That's the SEC. It's Rams. Boom. You load up. Boom. And I don't see that from the Big Ten. I think I've seen a little bit of it with Oregon. I've seen Penn State do it some in that Oregon game too, but that was just early on. Penn State really ran out of gas pretty early. But those are the only times I've not seen Ohio State do it, not even once. Not even one time. Unless it's somebody like Caleb Downs. Listen, I've seen Caleb Downs run through people who, was trying to crack back block him, like blindside block him, and he didn't even know that there was there. He just blows him up. Now, see, that's a dog that came from the SEC. That's the difference. We got a lot of players like that. I'm not saying that they're as good as Caleb Downs, but they're going to be physical just that exact same way. So just to let y'all know. All right, where are we at now? We're gonna give Richie Dubs a little break for a minute. We're gonna let the chat talk to him. I think this one right here. So Jeremy Thornton saying, because I could have swore one of OSU's DVs was allowing an 80% completion. Oh, yeah, DBs was allowing an 80% completion rate, and the other one holds every snap and gets penalized. Yeah, you are exactly right on that. So you are not mistaken on that. That is 100% facts. Chris Campbell saying, let's go Vols. Oh, yeah, and so let me actually come back to this one, too. So, Jeremy, I'm talking about the cornerbacks. Their safeties are good. Some, like, they can get handsy, too, but they are good. The cornerbacks are not good. So I just wanted to make sure that I cleared that up. From God, Guns, and Ammo, what's going on, brother? Saying, well, Iowa was the best defensive team last year in their conference, and Nico beat them by himself. I think OSU better pack a lunch. It's going to be a long day. Go Vols. Great point, Tim. I know that that was a really good game. We were missing a whole lot of players. A lot of folks opted out or they hit the transfer portal prior to that game. But doesn't that kind of put things like, doesn't that give you a strong point of reference for what we're talking about here?
It shocked me how a team could be as offensively anemic as Ohio was, and they were second in the conference, right? I mean, and we say we beat the brakes off of them is an understatement. What was it, 35 to nothing?
to
Like
nothing, man.
we had all the freshmen in. Like they put they probably suited up the water boy and threw him in that game. They went all Bobby Boucher on him, bro. They were pulling him.
We did for real.
That was a wild game, and that was his first. That kid didn't have a clue. You could tell he was clueless. Like he was just, I'm just gonna pull it down and run it. He got 4 rushing touchdowns that game,
something like that. Yeah.
I mean, that was a wild game, man. Obviously, Ohio State has a lot more depth and talent than Iowa, but it does make you wonder what's going on up there.
Yeah. I mean, really, and yeah, I think that's a good point too. I'm not expecting for the Buckeyes to be anything like Iowa, so I want to make sure that I get that clear. Excuse me, but the whole point right there really is that your defense can look great statistically playing against lesser competition. Like let's just say it that way. So we're gonna put it to the test. I'm just gonna say it like that. All right. So what we're gonna do, Tim, because we're getting close to about an hour. I'm gonna shut this thing down with whoever the next chat is, and I see where we're at. The next one is going to end it, and we're just going to try to fly through and catch up because we do want to get to everybody. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Please, y'all, make sure to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. I know that sometimes you can watch these YouTube videos and you think that you're subscribed, but you're not. That really does help us out tremendously. It doesn't really sign you up for anything except for this channel, right? Like just so that you can see whenever we post and all that good stuff. And again, that really does help us out. So thank y'all. All right, Tim, where was we at? Because I had to scroll down to the bottom. I know we got a little. Okay, I think I know.
Me too.
Okay, so I see where we're at. Wait, no.
Hold
on.
Michael, go to Michael Cooley right there. Yep.
Right there. All right, so Big Ten soft in the middle, SEC's hard in the middle. That's an excellent comparison. And I think that is very true. Christopher Welch is saying Nico passed 5 games, 12 touchdowns to 1 interception. And I think he's at like 74. I want to say 79% completions, but that sounds too high. It might be 74. So, yeah, I mean, he's been balling out. And and we've been playing against some good teams. It's not we've been playing up against a bunch of scrubs. UTEP was the only team that, really wasn't that well, UTEP and the Mississippi State. All right, I didn't even get to this dude. Let me keep on going, though. From Lamons Jr. saying, Nico looked very poised against Georgia, no doubt. Yeah, he did. Jeremy Thornton, I don't expect to see the same OSU team that played Michigan. The play calling was horrific and didn't play to y'all's strengths. OSU has the better roster, but the matchup favors Tennessee. So I want to touch on this here really quickly because listening to Ryan Day talk today, he said something, Tim, like that they want to move bodies up front. It was something along those lines. But that tells me that, if they are still going to try to play that tough guy role, this one could get real ugly because that's not who they are. Like that really isn't who they are. And I know that they're very talented, but there's some things that you really can't teach. You know what I'm saying? Like you either a dog or you're not. And I don't, I'm not trying to be mean to those kids because everyone that I've heard speak, they all sound like really, really good people. So I'm not saying it that way, but it is what it is, man. We're about to go to war, and I love our chances. They are just not the physical bunch to be able to move us up front. So hopefully that is their game plan. All right, let me keep on going.
You got a super chat up there, man.
Okay, okay. So let me get to this. Appreciate it. This is from Flyfish21 for $20. Thank you so much. Saying great work, guys. Thank you for that. We always appreciate it. So we will play the clip for you. It always takes me a while to find this thing. Hold on. All right, here we go. Thank you for that, Flyfish. And I'm gonna have to move that super chat, Tim, because it always takes me too long to find it. All right, so let's keep it moving. Do you remember where I was at?
Yeah, Brian Lemons. When Nico sees number 1 for OSU in single coverage, he needs to attack. He gets burned a lot.
Okay.
Learned
Oh, okay.
learned a
I
lot.
see it. I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I will just reread this for you, Brian, saying that when Nico sees number 1 for OSU in single coverage, he needs to attack. He gets burned a lot and lots of PI. Yeah, that's an excellent point. Excellent point, Brian. I think that is in our game plan. I promise you, we know about their corners. If we ever see one-on-one, and of course, we always scheme it up, we'll find the right matchups, the ones that we like the most, and we will target them. We're gonna put them to the test. We'll see, will they play off or will they play up like they have this entire season? If they play up, man, look, Nico might throw for about 350. And I'm not over-exaggerating or any of that whenever I say he might throw for about 350. Let's get to G White. What's going on, G? Long time no talk, brother. Saying Tennessee by 10, as long as we stick with the run and hit our over the tops and pick them up well. Yep. 100%. I think that is the game plan, man. Run the football, throw it over their heads. As long as we hit on them, we're going to be straight. Orange Crush number 27 saying, no matter what, the Vols made the next step for this program, and that's huge. Now let's go take one in the shoe. Go Big Orange.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I think Tim, sorry about that, man. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just agreeing, man. Like, hell yeah, let's go do it. Like, let's take the fight to them, and let's make a deep playoff run. Let's not just make a playoff run, right?
Yes, sir. Man, shoot. While we at it, let's just go win the whole doggone thing, man. Why not us? Let's just go win it.
Why not?
All right. Let me get to all right. So let me see. Oh, Richie Dubs is still talking. All right. From Brody Bailey saying Chase McGrath, that was his name. Thank you. Will never pay for anything in Knoxville. 100%. He's set for life. He said, and ask Ladway, can Arion Carter play pass coverage? Yeah. He definitely threw a pick to him. That man is a baller. He's a real dog. Flyfish 21 saying inside pressure in the QB's face is huge for this game. Yeah, I think that we're gonna get it, Tim. And that's the worst place to get pressure at. That's why I think people are really sleeping on our front, because they're gonna be so worried about our edge players. But the problem is we got guys on the interior that are big, fast, and twitchy. And I think that Ohio State's going to have trouble blocking them. Now, I think that they're better with pass pro than run blocking. But what do you feel about that matchup, Tim?
If what they're talking about doing is changing some of these players around and like a new center and all this other stuff, man, Omar Norman Lott is going to have a day.
Yeah.
Like, that's just – get ready. You thought Michigan looked deep. Wait till you see Tennessee and 12 guys they rotate in there. So, yeah.
Okay. Now let's see. Inside pressure. Okay. So right here from Carson Trey saying go Big Orange. Thank you for chiming in. From Jeremy Thornton. There's a lot of talk on social media that Tennessee could have up to 30% of the stadium. Not sure how valid that is, but 30,000 opposing fans would be unheard of. Yeah, I feel like it was probably close to that when we went to LSU. You know what I'm saying? I don't know exactly how many people went to that game from Tennessee side, but yeah, I mean, that would be, I think that would be. Go ahead.
Well, I think the reason I think there were not 30 there, but it looked like that because you ran all the other fans out of the stadium, so that's all that was left. So it looked like a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But look, they have the potential to do that. If they get 30,000 Vol fans in there, that's going to make a difference. So,
man, listen, Rocky Top is going to be loud. I promise you, it's going to be real loud. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this game, Tim. Like, I really can't wait. I know I'm gonna probably start having trouble sleeping because I'm so excited about it. Brody Bailey saying, I know Tennessee fans that haven't been to one home game this year that are low enough and heading up there. Wow, that speaks volumes, man.
Well, dude, it's cheap. I mean, honestly,
it is cheap.
I could get a motel room and tickets for the price of tickets here. That's just tickets, right? That's not parking, eating, all that stuff. Like, it's so much cheaper to go up there for this game. It's wild. And that's why I think so many Tennessee fans are like, oh, I was expecting to spend $2,000 a ticket. You mean I can take the whole family?
Yep. Yeah, so shoot, I mean, hopefully we just keep on loading up with those tickets, and I definitely think that we will. So let me get to this one right here from Bowman Bromley. What's going on, Bowman? Saying go Big Orange. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Go Vols. Green Wave saying, Richie, check the TV ratings. OSU is not number one anymore. That was a long time ago. Y'all had most of the bandwagoners. Also, many of your fans are long distance and they won't travel. You know, I think that is a good point, Green Wave. Thank you for chiming in, because we all know that the Buckeyes have a national fan base, a worldwide fan base, just like Tennessee does. Theirs might, they might have a bigger fan base than ours is, but I think that we're stronger though. You know what I'm saying? Like I like our odds, even if it's 30 to 70, split. I like those odds. I think that we can still take over the stadium, especially if we get off to a good start, and that's going to help our Vols win. All right, let me see. Another one from Jeremy Thornton saying, I heard that there was an estimated 20,000 tickets available, and by game day, they'll be under $75. Wow.
That's what I heard. I heard that too.
Give them away.
Yes.
Yeah, Tennessee fan base might be thicker than we think. We were just kind of talking about that, Tim. I think so, man. Look, it might be 30 plus thousand. I mean, like, it really might be.
It's going to be impressive. They're going to get a little bit of that Oklahoma shock, except for that's way more than what showed up in Oklahoma, if that's the case. But Oklahoma was like, damn, where'd all these Tennessee people came from? They weren't expecting that. They probably haven't seen anything like that at a home game where another fan base travels that much. But that's SEC madness, buddy.
Yep. It is what it is. All right, y'all. Well, you know what? We are going to go on ahead and wrap this thing up. We do have a whole lot of questions. Listen, we appreciate y'all so much for chiming in, for tuning in. Again, please do make sure to like and subscribe. I will have another video coming out tomorrow. Just kind of, again, normal ones and twos throughout this week. And we might do an extra one tomorrow if possible, if I can find enough time. Maybe talking a little bit more about the transfer portal, because I think that things are looking really good. I wanted to talk more about that today, but we ran out of time. So a whole lot of good thoughts, a whole lot of good questions. Thank you. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Have a great one, guys.